get asked how to get cheap airline flights. And so in this video, I'm going to answer that exact question, how to get cheap flights. Please hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more expert travel advice and adventures around the globe. So now this is going to be ground zero for getting deals on flights, for getting cheap flights. A lot of people know this website. It's a very popular website. It's a very good website, but I'm going to show you how to get cheap flights on it. Knowing the website is a good start, but really, just like a carpenter needs his tools, you need to know how to use the site properly. And so that is what I'm going to teach you, how to get cheap flights. Now, being flexible is very important, but the flights that I get, they're not 4 o'clock in the morning with 6 different transfers and all this nonsense. They are generally good direct flights, but they are just well priced. And today I'm going to teach you how to get those cheap flights as well. So main thing that you need to know is, well, you're obviously flying out of somewhere. You can change it. I have it set to Toronto, and then this button and this button are your two that you're going to be changing, and that's how you're really going to find the best prices. So for me, I like to explore everywhere, and there's actually a button which is what I always press, explore everywhere. Now the other thing is you want flexible dates. This is how you're going to get the cheapest flights. If you need to go on a specific date at a specific time to a specific airport, this may help you out. But really what I'm doing here is helping you create a travel itinerary with the cheapest flights. So you can see it has divided it for flexible dates into month. So that's how you want it. You want to choose a month, and then within that month, you will find the lowest prices flying from whatever destination you are flying to or flying from. This works essentially every airport, every country in the world. You just have to set where you're going to be traveling from. So I'm going to choose October. Search adult, one adult, apply. Okay, so you can see, so this is Canadian dollars, by the way. So 47 Canadian dollars is the cheapest flight I can get direct. I like I mentioned earlier, I almost always fly direct. I don't think that's the way to save money, is some silly transfer that you may or may not make to save a little bit of money. Here you save real money, but you actually also get to fly direct. So these are the cheapest flights from Toronto for the whole month of October, and it breaks it down obviously from cheapest destination, which is Canada to Canada or Canada to the United States. Now it shows there's a flight to Bahamas for $128 Canadian, which is less than $100 US. So here's where the magic kind of starts. So Bahamas, you can go for 100. I always like to do one-way flights as well. You can just do a one-way flight and then another one-way flight. That's how I always find is the best. So Barbados 140 Canadian, Mexico 151 Canadian, Belize 164, St. Lucia 169, Dominican Republic 172. So you can see these are really low prices. Now, of course, depending on the airline, you may have to pay for extra baggage, or there's always extras. Of course, that's how the airlines will make their money. So you can see there's a lot of nice destinations that I could go to in October. And the good thing with the monthly breakdowns is, you probably know what month you're traveling in, or it's a good base to start. These prices will be similar for November, maybe not December for Christmas, but really it's you pick a month and then the destination should come to you based upon phenomenal cheap flight prices. Not, oh, I want to go to this country and this day exactly on this airline. Well, again, that you're paying exactly what the airline wants you to pay. But this way, this is how you get the cheap flights. So you can see already there's many really low priced flights. Costa Rica. So let's click on Costa Rica. So Liberia, Costa Rica, 184 Canadian direct one way. Oh, and if you've been following my channel, you will notice I have some videos that I'm uploading now about Liberia and Costa Rica. So how did I choose that destination? Well, that destination kind of chose me because when I was on this site, I was like, what? I can go to Costa Rica for 184 Canadian dollars. So what's that? 140, 150 US dollars. So click on Liberia, and again, here is where the magic happens. So all the little green prices are the cheapest ones generally. So really, there's a secret right there. There is the cheap flight. So again, I've mentioned it a few times, if you have to go an exact day, an exact time, an exact destination, and an exact airport, you're going to pay lots of money for your airline tickets. If you can use my method here, you are going to get really cheap flights. So it looks like there's a few days where, it's basically as cheap as it's probably ever going to get. So the October 4th, October 23rd, and October 24th are all your best dates. So let's click October 4th. Then you go down to find flights one way. Oh, yeah, okay. So I clicked October 24th, but it's the same difference. Really, it's just to see. The monthly calendar will show you the best 2 or 3 or 5 days for prices. And there it is. So that's direct on WestJet, which is a reputable, good airline, a good flight, 9 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't really get much better than that. So, you're not doing any transfers. You're not going at some silly time like midnight or 4 o'clock in the morning or something. And that's 185 Canadian dollars. That's, an unbelievable deal for a long flight, 5 hours and 26 minutes. So this isn't like a 45-minute flight. This is a good long flight. So see deals. Skyscanner never takes a cut. So here is where you can get those prices. Now, I always prefer to book with the airline. There's the option, WestJet airline. It's $8 or $10 more expensive than some of the other kind of sites. I would gladly pay that money to be able to speak with the airline. Now, I have booked on some of the other kind of more well-known travel sites from time to time. If it's gonna maybe save me a whole bunch of money. If you're just saving $5 or $10, I would definitely personally always book it with the airline. But there you go, you're 192 Canadian dollars. Unbelievable deal to Costa Rica. And this same method can be used again to go anywhere. So if I go back, okay, so there's the Costa Rica one. It shows all these destinations. There's another one, Belize. Do I want to go to Belize one way for 164 Canadian dollars? I think I do. Belize City, direct. Again, a lot of these flights are direct. You're just choosing the day and the time and the destination based upon when the price is the best. So we got, so this one, Halloween, October 31st. You can go to Belize City from Toronto. Again on WestJet. 14 deals from $188. So again, I personally would use this information and then go directly to WestJet or whatever airline it happens to be, book it directly. But there's two phenomenal examples I found in like 3 minutes for great, interesting destinations, Costa Rica and Belize. Direct flights, good time. This one's good time as well, maybe even better time, 10:15 a.m. Both of them are good. The Costa Rica flight was at 9 a.m. This one's at 10:15 a.m. So both from reputable airline, good time, direct. It doesn't really get any better than that. There is the method. There is how you find cheap flights. So I mentioned earlier that near the end of the video, I would be giving you even further ways to save even more money off your cheap flight. So I've already explained the cheap flights. I've already got you the cheap flights here. And this method works from any airport, essentially, any destination to anywhere really. So I have it set at Toronto. But you can have it set from anywhere. When I was in Asia this winter, I used this exact same method to travel all around Asia, both international and domestic flights in Thailand, Vietnam, Korea, and Japan. And it's how I set my itinerary. So if I looked here and saw that the flight was half the price if I went on Thursday instead of going on Saturday, that's what I did. I just changed my itinerary because, you know, I want cheap flights. That's what this video is about, and that's what I'm showing. How to get cheap flights. How to create an itinerary based upon cheap flights. So again, I mentioned earlier that near the end of the video, I would give you some even more ways to save money off your cheap flights. The first one is carry-on only. Personal item and carry-on. So a personal item is, you know, a purse, a very small backpack, something like that. Bring a personal item. It's free with even generally the most budget airlines. So a personal item, start with that. And then a carry-on you sometimes have to pay for, especially now more and more you're paying for it. But bring a carry-on. Don't pay for a checked bag. No matter where you go, bring 7 days worth of clothing and use a laundry service or do your own laundry in that country. There's no need to bring any more than a carry-on bag and a personal item. That's number one tip on how to save additional money already on your cheap flights. So More and more airlines are charging you for carry-ons these days, but it's still the better way to go. So when you see these prices, of course you have to read the fine print. So see deals. So Skyscanner generally kind of helps you out with these little symbols here. Shows the suitcases. If I click on that, so one personal item. So for free, you get a personal item. Check if you can add a cabin bag on the provider site. No check bag included. So that is getting more and more common. Here you may have to, actually you most certainly do for that price, pay for a carry-on bag. So when you go to WestJet to book your flight, you'll pay for a carry-on bag. But again, that is another way to save money. Carry-on and personal item, and that's it. Checked bag, no need for it. Another tip I can give for saving money on your already cheap flight is, one, have the biggest meal that you can have before going to the airport, because airport food is expensive and generally not very good, but it is always going to be more expensive than eating outside the airport. Some places is going to be much, much more. And I'm looking at you, North America, for price gouging on food at the airport. In Asia, I was actually quite impressed. It was a bit more expensive, but it was actually very reasonably priced, and the food was actually decent in the airport. But that is tip number 2 for saving even more money on your already cheap flights. Bring some snacks in your carry-on bag or your personal item, and eat as big of a meal as you can before you go inside the airport. Last tip I'll give you for saving even more money off your already cheap flight that I've already explained how to get is just watch all the add-ons. So of course a carry-on bag is kind of an essential add-on. It's part of the trip. Hopefully the airline doesn't charge you too much for it. Of course, always, always, always book any add-on like a carry-on if you need to ahead of time when you're booking your flight. If you wait to the airport or you wait till after, you're going to pay more. So always, always, always book any add-on when you book your flight. That is going to save you more money than showing up at the airport and trying to add it there. You're just going to get, you're at the mercy of the airline at that point, and they're going to charge you whatever they want to charge you. On the topic of add-ons as well, you can make your cheap flight ticket that I found you here go up quite quickly by adding on things like seats. You know, maybe if it's a long flight, you want to pay for an aisle seat, or a seat near a washroom, whatever. That's up to you. But the point is to save more money and to keep your cheap flight cheap. Really watch your extras, because you go on to the site, and before you finalize it, you're going to be asked, do you want trip cancellation insurance? Do you want to upgrade your seat to closer to the front of the plane? Do you want to have more leg room, etc., etc., etc.? And that of course is up to you. But again, an additional tip to save even more money on your cheap flight, unless it's a really, really long flight, just go to the airport. You've already got your snacks in your bag, so you're good there. You've already had a huge meal before you got to the airport, so you're good there. You're feeling good because you saved so much money on your cheap flight. Try and keep that cheap flight cheap, and watch the add-ons. That's my last tip on how to save even more money off your cheap flight. So I hope you enjoyed my video on how to get cheap flights. I hope I can save you some money. And all of these methods and all of these strategies that I'm mentioning, I've tried them myself, and why I know they work and why I'm confident many times, and I've saved thousands and tens of thousands of dollars off flight costs. So I hope I can save you the same amount of money. Please hit a like on the video and subscribe to my channel for more expert travel advice and adventures around the globe.